Sardar Patel Educational Institute, Shri G.M. Donda Primary School welcomes you all. Good morning, students. Welcome for today's e-learning session. Today we will study chapter number 10, verbs. Now, can anyone tell me what are verbs? Yes, the word that tells what someone or something does is known as verb. Verb is also known as an action word or word of being. For example, sit, laugh, run, jump, etc. So the things which we can do, that words are known as verbs. What is a verb? Let's revise. A verb is a word which describes the action in a sentence. That is, the doing word is known as a verb. For example, I play football. They skip quickly. We eat safagati. Bob is 7 today. Action words: play, cook, run, swim, laugh, read, sleep, bark, etc. These are the words here which shows action. That word is known as action word or verbs. An action verb describes what someone or something is doing. For example, she tasted the stew. The bus arrived on time. A verb that shows action is called an action word. The action verb tells what is the subject does. The action can either be physical or mental. For example, the farmer feeds the chicken. Here, physical action is done. He likes the red rooster best. Here, it shows mental action. So, the action may be physical or mental. That action is known as action word or action verbs. Auxiliary verb. Auxiliary verbs are also known as helping verbs. Auxiliary verb or helping verb helps the sentence to complete its sense. Sentence complete meaning with the help of auxiliary verb. It also tells the tense of the sentence. There are different helping verbs are used for different situations, just like am, is, are, was, were, be, been, do, does, did, have, had, etc. are known as auxiliary verb. Now let's see few examples. Am. I am sorry for what I have done. Is. He is a great all-round player. Are. You are never too late to learn. Was. He was elected by a unanimous vote. Were. The children were playing with a ball. Be. Music will be played on a phonograph. Been. This actress has been divorced from her husband. Will. He will not play volleyball. Has. He has bought some tropical fruits. Have. Our guests have arrived. Had. I had not seen him for 15 years. Be and have can be used as auxiliary verb as well as main verb. For example, Soumya has bought an umbrella. Here, has is used as an auxiliary verb. The girl had a football. Here, had is used as main verb. So children, be, to be form and to have form may be used as auxiliary verb or main verb. Now let's see what is transitive verb. Transitive verb requires an object in the form of a noun or pronoun to complete its meaning. Transitive verbs are used with a direct object. A transitive verb requires an object in the form of a noun or pronoun to complete its meaning. This object answers to the question who or what. The students write composition. What do the students write? Composition. So it is the object of the sentence. Peter loves Mary. Who does Peter love? Mary. So Mary is the object of the sentence. What is an intransitive verb? An intransitive verb is one that does not require an object to complete its meaning. The sentence may end with the verb, an adjective, or an adverb. The question one may ask with these forms are when, where, how, or why. The children sat at 7:30 p.m. at the table quietly. The children sat because their mother told them to. So anything. But we can say the children sat. We can get the complete meaning if we not add any of the things. So, intransitive verb in that object is not. Intransitive verbs. Intransitive verbs are either followed by word or phrase, and such words or phrases typically answer the question how. Intransitive verbs do not require a direct object to express a complete thought. For example, she smiles, he cries, etc. So children, transitive verbs are action words that have an object to receive that action. For example, I bake some cookies, I ride the bicycle, I move the chair. Intransitive verbs are action verbs, but unlike transitive verbs, they do not have an object receiving the action. I laugh, I cry, the book falls, etc. So, transitive verb, when it has object, it is known as transitive verb, and intransitive verb means a verb is intransitive when it has no object. Intransitive verbs are action verbs that do not have object. Linking verbs are always intransitive. Intransitive verbs never answer the question who or what. For example, the pilot landed carefully. There is no direct object. So it doesn't answer the question landed what or whom. So it is known as intransitive. Josh and Andy played basketball in the yard. Josh pushed Andy. So these are transitive verbs that needs a direct object. Intransitive verbs do not need a direct object. We can say that Andy fell. So children, I think you have understood what is transitive and what is intransitive. Now let's see incomplete verbs. Verb is incomplete if it does not create a complete thought with a subject only. For example, we write a sentence like, the dog barks. We can see it is a complete thought. Of course, we can add some other words to expand the sentence, but those two words are enough to form a complete sentence. In other hand, if we write seems, it seems, here we can see that this sentence needs more information to be complete. A complete sentence could be, John seems a nice person. So, verbs which do not form a full sentence with only a subject, that is incomplete verbs. They are like seem, be, look, become, etc. These words are known as incomplete verbs. Complement. Algebra is difficult. Here, difficult is subject complement. And subject is algebra. Practice make algebra easy. Here, easy is object complement and object is algebra. Complements are essential to complete the meaning. So the words which help to complete the meaning, that words are known as complements. So, in short, a complement is a word or group of words that completes the meaning of verb. Complements functions to express quality or attributes of or to identify the subject or object they modify. Different sentences may include a subject or object complement. Mary is a nice teacher. He become rich. Similar sentence includes verbs like be, become, seem, appear, grow, turn, etc. These words takes complement. He is my teacher. He seems happy. All the previous complements are called subject complements since they provide information on the subject. Object complement. Object complement provide information on object. We elected Sammy president. Here Sammy is object and we are talking about him as a president, so it is object complement. We nominated Ahmed chairman. Here chairman is Ahmed and Ahmed is object, so it is object complement. I made her happy. So here happy is she, so her is object and happy is object complement. So children, today we have learned what are verbs. Verbs that tells what the noun or pronoun is doing, that is an action words. Action words are verbs that tells about particular action being done by a noun or pronoun. After that we have learned what is auxiliary verb. Auxiliary verbs are helping verbs that they are used with an action verb or main verb. They are often used to show the tense of the verb and does not carry a meaning of its own. That is am, is, are, was, were, have, has, had, etc. are auxiliary verbs. Then we have learned transitive verb. Transitive verbs are verbs that need an object to express a complete thought. The meaning of the verb will remain incomplete without their object. After that we have learned what is intransitive object. Intransitive verbs. Intransitive verbs are verbs that have no object. A sentence with an intransitive verb is complete and does not need an object. Next we have learned incomplete verb. Incomplete verbs do not make sense by themselves. They require one or more words to be added to them to give them a complete meaning. These words are known as complement of the verb. So children, I think you have understood this chapter well. Now, let's revise this chapter through extra marks.
At the end of this lesson, the students will be able to identify different kinds of verbs and to use them effectively and logically. We will learn the following topics in this module: verb definition, kinds of verb, main verb, helping verb, transitive verb, and intransitive verb. The chef made an omelette. 3 blind men were crossing the road. The birds have flown away. You may have noticed the following words: likes made, were crossing, have flown. These are some actions taking place in different situations. Now try to understand what actions are taking place here. They are writing, thinking, batting and pushing. All action words are called verbs. A verb is a word or group of words which says what a person or thing is, has or does, or what happens or is done to a person or a thing. Kinds of verb: main verb, helping verb. Main verb has a meaning of its own. Example: write, push, think, pat, etc. Helping verb does not have a meaning of its own. Example: is, had, were. Helping verb only helps the main verb. Now let's play an interesting game. Here are two houses, the house of main verb and the house of helping verb. Click and find out which verb belongs to which house. Wow! We have got the following verbs in the house of the main verb: write, dive, laugh, need, and sleep. We have also got the following verbs in the house of the helping verb: is, should, were, be, and are. Definition: the verbs which transit or pass over the action from the subject to the object are transitive verbs. It means the verb must have a clear object to receive the action. The object can be a noun or a pronoun. Examine the following sentences. Saurabh purchased a watch on his birthday. Disha saw a few monkeys in the zoo. My father gave me a book on my birthday. I can speak English fluently. The underlined words, a watch, a few monkeys, me, and a book, and English are the objects of the following verbs respectively: purchased, saw, gave, and can speak. Remember that the verb gave has two objects, me and a book. Me is the indirect object and a book is the direct object. Intransitive verb. Can you use an object in the following sentences? The child is sleeping. The lion roared. Everyone is dancing. The verbs sleep, roar, and dance in these sentences are complete in themselves and do not take an object as they do not pass over the action.
Look at these sentences. Emily is knitting a sweater. Ivan has a car. Edwin is an engineer. Isabella sleeps well. You may notice that the highlighted words are used to say something about a person or a thing. If you analyze further, the highlighted group of words in the first sentence is used to describe an action, that is knitting. In the second sentence, the word has is used to talk about what Ivan possesses. And in the third sentence, the word is used to describe Edwin. In sentence 4, the word sleeps talks about a state that the child is in. These words or group of words are called verbs. A verb is often defined as a word which shows an action or state of being. The most important word in a sentence is the verb. So, every sentence must have a verb. Now, look at these sentences. They eat pizzas. Jordan drives a car. The girls dance. David runs fast. In the first sentence, the action denoted by the verb eating passes from the doer to an object pizza. In the second sentence, the action of driving passes from the subject Jordan to the object of the sentence a car. In sentence 3, the action denoted by the verb dancing does not pass over to an object. Similarly, in sentence 4, the verb runs also does not pass over to any object. If a verb that denotes an action which passes over from the doer or subject to an object, then it is called a transitive verb. The verbs eat and drives are therefore called transitive verbs. Transitive means passing over, whereas an intransitive verb is a verb that denotes an action which does not pass over to an object. The verbs dance and runs are therefore called intransitive verbs. Intransitive means not passing over. It is also stated that a transitive verb is one that takes an object after it. If you can identify the subject and verb in a sentence, then finding the object, if one exists, is easy. Just remember this simple formula. Subject plus verb plus what or who is equal to object. Look at this sentence. My mom cleans the dishes. Subject, my mom. Transitive verb, cleans. Let's find out by applying the formula. My mom cleans what? Or we can ask, what does my mom clean? The answer is the dishes. Let us find out the objects in the following sentences. Alex sent a greeting card from Brazil. Subject, Alex. Sent, transitive verb. Alex sent what? Or we can ask, what did Alex send? The answer is a greeting card. It is the object. Another example, Jackson won a prize in the singing competition. Won is a transitive verb. The question, what did Jackson win? We get the answer, a prize. It is the object. A verb that does not take an object in order to complete its sense is called an intransitive verb. In this case, the action stops with the verb and does not pass on to any object. The wind blows. The girl cried. He fell badly. Dogs bark. In the above sentences, the words blow, cried, fell and bark are intransitive verbs. They do not need any object to complete their sense. The action in each case is complete and does not pass over. An intransitive verb usually expresses a state or being. For example, Robert ran a long distance. Here, the verb expresses an action. He has fallen asleep. A state is expressed by the verb in this sentence. She is a doctor. Here, the verb indicates being. Some verbs can be used both as transitive and as intransitive. Hence, we use the term transitive or intransitive depending upon the use. Let's see some examples. Teach. She teaches well. She teaches English. In sentence 1, the verb is intransitive. In sentence 2, the verb is transitive. Object is English. Fly. The birds fly. The children fly kites. In sentence 1, the verb is intransitive. In sentence 2, the verb is transitive. Object is kites. Some transitive verbs may become transitive by having a preposition added to them, as in the examples given here. Shout. There is no need to shout. Why do you shout at me? In sentence 1, the verb is intransitive. In sentence 2, the verb is transitive. Object is me. Look at one more transitive verb, run, used as a transitive verb. Nelson doesn't run fast. The verb is used intransitively in this sentence. Philip will soon run through his fortune. By adding a preposition, the meaning of run is changed to consume, and hence it has become transitive in the sentence. There are a few transitive verbs which are sometimes used as intransitive verbs. For example, David broke the glass. The verb broke is transitive in the sentence. But in the sentence, the glass broke, it is intransitive. Let's take the example of another verb, open. In the sentence, open the door, the verb open is used transitively, whereas in the sentence, the exhibition opens at 6 o'clock. The verb is intransitive. Now look at these sentences. William is ill. The students are intelligent. The movie was very dull. In each sentence, there is a form of be as the verb followed by a word or a group of words for providing complete sense to the sentence. These words are called complements. The word complement refers to a completer of the verb. In this pattern, the complement that follows be is an adjectival. In the language of traditional grammar, this slot is the subject complement, which both completes the verb and modifies or describes the subject. Now, look at the given sentences. The students seem intelligent. Robert grew old. Honey tastes sweet. As you have already observed, that the words that follow the verbs in these sentences are complements. They describe an attribute of the subject, so they are called subject complements. Now, look the verbs in these sentences. They link the subject of the sentence to a word or phrase in the predicate that renames or describes the subject. Such kinds of verbs are called linking verbs. The term linking verb applies to all verbs completed by a subject complement.
Thank you. Have a nice day. Stay home. Stay safe.